Hey internets, it's Jake, and I am Mini Terrain Domain, and this is BrigadeCon. To BrigadeCon 2016, this game is the affairs of dragons. What is BrigadeCon? BrigadeCon is a free online RPG convention and fundraiser for Child's Play charity.org. Everything now, the con is free, completely free to register and play in games and participate in panels and whatnot. But there is a donate button down in the description where you can click to donate directly through the BrigadeCon widget to Child's Play, where that money goes directly to Child's Play. T-shirt purchases, I bought this BrigadeCon t-shirt, and the money from that goes to benefit Child's Play. What is Child's Play? It is an amazing, started in the Seattle area, that benefits children in hospitals and recovery centers and things like that around the world, to provide them with toys and games, role-playing games, board games, video game systems, handheld game systems, things to make the days a little bit brighter for children that are dealing with long-term illnesses or long-term stays in hospitals and recovery centers and things like that. The Child's Play charity.org website has amazing information on how whether you're on the administrative side or you are somebody that finds yourself having to spend a lot of time with a child in the hospital, you can contact the organization and see if they are a participant in this program, or if there's a way that you can get your hospital to become a part of that. Depending on the overall length of the game and everything, we will be plugging this at least once or twice more during the game, because that's what we are here for. And if you head over to brigadecon.org, you can see a full schedule of games that have been happening since midnight last night Eastern, as well as there's plenty of other GMs running games right now. And after this one, starting at 8, I will be playing in a Copper Jackals game over in the Tabletop Terrors channel. And I'm very much looking forward to that as well. So that's all of the administrative stuff. Oh, real quick, I wanted to say, at last check, within the hour, we are at almost $1,400 in donations from BrigadeCon for Child's Play charity. So keep those donations coming, people. Give $1, give $2, give $5. Your next supplement, if you were going to go to McDonald's through the drive-thru, don't. Just go make a sandwich and take that money that you were going to spend on a Big Mac and fries and throw it in the donations for Child's Play, because you never know what kind of an impact that can have. All right, without further ado, what we're going to do is I'm going to go to each one of the players that I have here. I'm going to have you introduce yourself. I want you to tell us what dragon you are playing and what your dragon's name is, and then we are going to go narratively right into this game, because each one of these players is playing as an adult dragon. So you know whatever they are about to face is going to be pretty badass. All right, let's start with Marpause.
Yeah, hello, I'm Marpause. I'm playing Chlorfaxius the Tycoon. She's an adult green dragon, and she has her lair in a very, very big and vibrant forest, using druids and lumberjacks, and to keep sure that she has enough revenue and gold to have a very big hoard and healthy children. She has her lair in a very, very big tree, and in the distance she can always hear the sounds of the axe lumbering in the forest.
Excellent. Jeremy.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jeremy. I'm also known as Erasmus in a couple different places of the internet. Today I'm going to be playing a red dragon named Riganvost the Resentful. Should be a lot of fun.
Dave.
Hey everyone, this is Dave. Today I'll be playing the Silver Dragon, Atarak the Just. Atarak the Just is awakening in his mountainous lair. As his dreary, droopy eyes open up, he views the piles of organized, some might call plunder. He calls them collections. He's got chests full of coin from empires such as Amun, as far as Neverwinter, even unknown kingdoms such as Awa, Ainamir. He also scans over and sees the ship. A sailing vessel was once a pirate ship, but they weren't the pirates you would typically see. This ship was the Pearl of the Ocean, and he once served on that ship, not in a scaly form. The memories, as he looks over all the long years as it represents him, and what he considers the good things he's done to represent law, order, and eliminating chaos in this world. Trouble is coming. He can feel it in his bones. So as he stretches, he stands and separates into the dwarven form he typically takes. And he begins walking and just staring amongst his treasures because he knows he must once again leave. Atarak the Just.
Excellent. Chad.
All right, I'm gonna just jump in here, okay? Deep in the bowels of the sand dunes of the primordial lies the languished yet lavish body of an older blue behemoth. The sands from above take on the mystic tone of lapis lazuli, a deep-hued blue, as the moon sweeps over the dunes. It's a rich and vibrant color is merely a mirage, though, as what appears to be sand grains are really sapphire shards. The auspicious display of profound wealth a ploy for the fodder of man. The horn of this massive beast rises from the sapphire oasis, and you are engulfed in the brilliance that is Logris the Voiceless. He scans over all of his exceptional wealth, his peons of prodigious and ostentatious artistry are overwhelmingly working their tireless hands on sculpting massive sand sculptures in the dunes of his ominous presence. And even then, there is something shifting in his unhinged bones. He rises from his perch in the sands. There is something coming. I do not know what it is. But gentlemen, ladies, you must continue your wonderful, pragmatic visage. I expect when I arrive back at my hoard that there will be wonderful and beautiful displays of my visage all around this desert. Do you hear me? For I will not expect anything less.
Excellent. Let's go back to Regenvoss, the red, in his lair. Or the red. I wrote the red. Regenvoss, described the resentful.
Yes. Okay, so Regenvost in his lair is laid out like a member of the Rat Pack during their heyday in Vegas. He's laying upon a bed of coins that stretch to all points of the horizon disappearing. And there's gemstones scattered in like stars in the night sky. And it's as if they were so many throw pillows to him. He uncurls, stretches, knocks over a pillar as he does so. The rubble just collapsing down into the gold, scattering it everywhere. He doesn't even mind. He doesn't even care. He knows it all by heart. He knows every piece. And he doesn't even need to double check because his servants make sure that none of it ever goes missing. Because if it does, so do they. He uncurls, lets out a deep billow, lets smoke curl out of his nostrils, and just belches flame into the air, just to watch it happen, just to see the reflection on the dark stone interior of this massive cavernous place nestled deep in the top of a mountain, because naturally that's where a god should sit, is above all that is beneath him.
Wonderful. And where and what is Chlorfaxius doing in her lair?
Counting gold and writing some tracks on the productivity of the woods. And tomorrow she's ready to meet one of the druids of the forest to learn more about the nature of the forest. And mostly right now she's relaxing, but keeping an eye on what she needs to do on the future for the forest and to sell the lumber and for the productivity. Yeah.
And all of you have heard the rumors around the realms of dragons losing clutches of eggs that worship dragons being responsible for invading dragon hordes. Strange movements among the smaller folk of the lands that you've never had to worry so much about because you all have your own treasure hoards that you are concerned with, well fought, well earned hoards of treasure. And perhaps that is why you've been ever more vigilant of every coin, every gem, every painting, every sculpture, every item within your inventory. And Locrius the Voiceless, you have caught wind of these rumors. You know that change and something is on the air. That is, as you are preparing to take flight, commanding your servants to pay homage to you in sand sculptures. One of your most trusted advisors, if you could call him that, a small desert dwelling, previously a nomad, but now they just stay in around your lair. He shuffles up to you and he says, "My lord," and he stops himself, your name on the tip of his tongue, knowing that it is forbidden to even speak your name.
What is it? Can you not see that I am prepared to take flight?
It is your wealth, my lord, your vast most impressive horde of all of the dragons of dragonkind. And
Well, spit it out. I don't have all day.
he's trembling. He drops involuntarily to his knees as his hand extends out to you. And you see a single copper coin in the palm of his hand, a coin that you know is not a part of your hoard. This is all that's left of it, my lord.
And I imagine that he bends over. He bends down, looking, I assume, a human artisan, or maybe one of his tax collectors. He looks down, stares him dead in the eye, and sniffs the coin. This is not mine. Why would you dare to give me something that is not of my own hoard? What happened to my hoard?
It's just not there, my lord.
Horace, do not lie to me. I do not like liars.
He soils himself.
And he smashes his massive paws down on both sides of him, causing a sand wave around him. If you do not wish to be buried underneath a pile, a mound, a audacious reckoning of sand, I swear to you right now, Horace, you will tell me what happened to my hoard.
It's just gone. It's not there.
And he starts to panic. You can visibly see in the eyes of this dragon, he's never feared anything but the loss of his vanity. Right? Like the idea that all of these structures, everything that he's had is gone, starts to suffocate him a little bit. And he sucks in air, and it sounds very guttural. You mean to tell me, peon, that every ounce, every scrap that I have saved for eons is gone?
Not even a single mote of dust of gold remains, my lord.
Well, Horace, I will let you know that your life will be used for good. You will be my shining star, and you will give life to the cosmos once again. And at that point, you see the massive jaw of this blue sweep like a bulldozer into the sand and engulf Horace, his once trusted advisor, as he eats him in one gulp for a final, getting his energy back. For I will need every ounce of energy I possess to allow myself not to kill the rest of you. Now, where is my gold?
And the camera cuts to Adarak the Just, casually strolling through his immense hoard as he passes by this ship that he once served upon, and he gazes at the individual treasures. He gets to the far end of his treasury, and I imagine you taking, in your dwarf form, taking a breath as you turn around to pace back in the other direction and catalog more items. And as you turn, Adarak, pivoting on your heels. What was there just a moment ago is gone. The entirety of the ship, every piece of treasure's gone, save for somewhere in the middle of this treasury is a single glinting copper coin.
Atarak is scanning the area, wipes his brow, and my hoard. This cannot be. He kneels down and picks up the coin and kind of blows a bit of cold breath on it and wipes it clean. It helps to etch the surface to see it clearer. What does he see?
This gold coin is, or this copper coin is larger than an average copper piece. And your vast hoard, which contained coins from all of the realms in all shapes and sizes, never contained a coin that looked like this. There is the engraving of a dragon looking straight on, a stylized logo, if you will, of a dragon with 10 stars encircling it. I would like you to make a history intelligence check.
Okay. Total of a 19.
This is the first time you've ever seen this symbol, but you have heard about it. This symbol was employed by an ancient, thousands of years gone council of ancients, or that's what it was known as. So long ago that the dragons barely remember that once upon a time there was a council of ancients comprising one of each of the 10 chromatic and metallic dragons that served on a unified council, and that these coins were representative of that council and usually representative of members of that council.
So as he examines the coin, he considers the prospect. He knows in his heart that his life is committed to law. He's protected the kind folk. So there is an ache. His heart aches right now because possessions, these are fond memories in each one of them. All the people he once knew, all of the great kings and empresses and history that he was able to bear witness to help, to shape, to guide the small folk. He knows that this coin means something to him. It means that he has been called. And he realizes that ache in his bones, that ache that was calling to him earlier, could mean that this is the last trip. And he turns around, and quickly, as you can see the form of the dwarf, the arms extend into full silver wings, and the body just elongates. Huge, 60 feet, as he slowly takes a gliding breeze out of his lair.
Excellent. Regenvost, as you recline upon your massive hoard, and tendrils of smoke from your exhaled breath curl around your head. In that instant of repose, as you adjust your massive bulk within your hoard to get a little more comfortable, instead of coins shifting, coins vanish. In that barest of an instant, what you so lavishly encircled around yourself has disappeared. And you hear just a single ting, 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 ting of a lone coin falling, and then rolling and clattering to the stone floor as your hoard is gone.
So he gives the wagon that he's holding in his hand another couple of shakes to empty it of the rest of the sheep and the shepherds that were stored inside of it into his jaws, and then looks around and in disbelief looks back into the wagon as if somehow it had all disappeared into that, and then lets the wagon fall from 30 feet up. It smashes like kindling on the ground, and he looks back down, still disbelief and shock numbs his senses, and he finally rolls over and he roars as loud as he can and causes rubble to tumble down from the ceiling and the walls all around him, no longer dampened by the massive of treasure that used to absorb sound here. And he's definitely calling for his retinue.
So you're calling your servants, summoning them to you.
Yes.
And what is Corfaxius? Corfaxius, as you are counting your treasures sitting in your high up in your lair, I imagine a long green talon as you were counting your coins, taking one particularly ornate coin and giving it a bing into the air so you can hear that ringing sound of the gold as it tumbles through the air. And as you flip it, bing, the ring just fades into nothingness and the coin does not fall from the air, nor does it clatter against the coins that were in your hand but are no longer there, as you too find your treasury completely depleted save for one lone copper coin.
A lair without a hoard is not a lair. What is that coin? And Corfaxius will try to see what is that coin exactly, a coin that she doesn't recognize.
You two can make a history check, see if you recall anything.
18.
And if Regenvost examines the coin in his lair, you can also make that check as well. And you also recognize, and this goes for Locrius, the voiceless, as your coin was consumed along with Horus, the unfortunate, we shall call him. You could taste this coin as it went down. Corfaxius, you recognize this insignia as well. And you recall the dim memories from the ancients. All of you have heard the rumors of a council of ancients that existed thousands of years ago. But to your reckoning, there hasn't been an ancient dragon in the realms for thousands of years, placing you, dragons, near the top of the dragon food chain, as it were. But only an ancient dragon could possess a coin such as this. And the rumors and the legends and the barely recalled memories all center around one place far to the north, just beyond the Mountain of Shadow. The place that legend foretold was the seat of the Council of Ancients. And it's more than just a recall of lore. Iraq, you felt it all along in your bones, and you only now know what it is. This coin isn't just a coin that you recognize. This coin isn't just the confirmation of centuries and eons old lore. This coin is actually beckoning you to the north.
Yes, and Adarak realizes it. This is a culmination of his life. It signifies purpose to him. Among all of the dragonkin, Adarak attempted to live a life of, as stated, law and order. He's always attempted to provide that, to live by virtue, be courageous, show honesty, be loyal, be generous to the small folk, be courteous, but above all else, have faith in what is good will rise and law will prevail. So as he changes his course, he feels his eyes moisten, part out of sadness, but part out of excitement, for there is change in the air. Adarak has purpose. And as he kicks through the air, he pushes his wings off and does a swoop maneuver that causes him to catch more air and move even faster as he continues on to his destination.
Everyone else, go ahead and describe your exodus, your flight to the north. Locrius, the voiceless.
Okay. Hold on. I got something written down, so I want to pull it up. Where'd it go? Yeah, here we go. You see Locrius sort of swallow, still in the process of swallowing Horus. Now he's lanky and thinner than most, probably because he's older than most. I have but one law, and I obey it thusly. I am the baddest bastard behemoth in this natural-born universe. I surround myself with those of artistic and intellectual prowess. You there, peon! And he imagines that one of them walks forward. I will be gone momentarily. You are now my new Horus. What is your name?
Horus, my lord!
There are more than one Horus in my horde? You will change your name and I will see you tomorrow. And at that point, he just locks in and just pushes off a sand wave, expels out from the space that he's in, and these blue wings that are probably tattered and torn a little bit more than they probably should expand out. They look like if you could pull up through, you imagine that they look like this sapphire iridescent stained glass as he starts to fly up against the desert sky. And you can hear him talking to himself. There's a part of him that may have gone mad at one point in the time in all this desert heat. There is a storm a-brewing in my starving belly, and I have heard you Cretans think I have long since faded into the sand I call home. I beg to differ, you pompous, proboscis basilisks. I will find my hoard and bring it home.
Fantastic. Regan Voss.
So yeah, Regan Voss has dealt with his underlings by way of just going ahead and killing all of them. And he goes ahead and collapses the cavern that he has been using these past years, because it obviously failed him too. And he's flying over the countryside, headed north, thinking of exquisite ways that he's going to make the person who caused this disappearance suffer. And a thought dawns on him, and he banks somewhat and heads to the east, because he just remembered that several of his servants who had failed him used to live in that town over there, and he's going to pay it a small visit on his way.
Orphaxius.
Chlorfaxius will quite, even if she's mad of losing her hoard, but she knows where to go now. She will set two things in motion, things that she thought would be coming in the next centuries, not right now. She sends two of her birds dressed, trained for that, to the chief druid of the forest and the chief contractor of the lumber of the lumber mills, saying how she plans to return, and they better follow her lead, her orders, or she will kill them all if they spoil her forest. And she flies up and leave her lair behind.
Excellent. Everybody, take a point of inspiration for those amazing introductory descriptions of your dragons and the reaction to your lairs. Those are freaking amazing. And in case you guys didn't see it in the chat, I would like everybody to roll initiative for the sake of determining who arrives first. We're going to determine the arrival order. And Regan Voss took a detour, so actually you're going to drop to the bottom of the initiative on that. And it appears that Locrius is the first one flying with the heat of the desert pushing him from behind, and the heat of his anger pushing him from within. As you soar over the landscapes, gaining toward the antithesis of your desert lairs, as you pass through the incredibly cold zones of the north, of the far north, and begin to wend your way into an area where even the humanoid races have barely managed to take root, though you sense a few barbarian and or Goliath tribes, maybe in small scatterings, barely worth your notation. And then you see it looming in the distance, a massive mountain known as the Mountain of Shadow. Not for the shadow that it casts across the landscape, but for the fact that it looks like a shadow across the landscape. And as you crest over just beyond this mountain, you see it in like a massive volcanic crater, hundreds of feet across, is nestled. What can only be described is a palace of gargantuan size. There are 10 spires that rise around this circular area. Each spire is easily 60, 70 feet in diameter at the top. There is a spire completely comprised of lapis lazuli, sapphire, and all nature of blue gems. There is one comprised of emeralds, one comprised of rubies, one that is made up of diamonds, one of onyx, one completely encrusted in gold, another in silver, yet another in copper, one made up of almost clockwork brass mechanisms, and another one that looks like a bronzed sculpture. A tower, it would seem, for each and every member of the draconic forms. And in the midst of all of these towers arranged in a circular form, your dragon eyes can spy a small humanoid form. Of all things, reclining on some sort of chaise lounge, sipping at a glass of some kind of liquid.
This does not bode well for you. I could. And he starts to think it over. For blue dragons are not direct attack dragons. They plan their attacks because they're so vain they don't want to get injured. And you can see in the heat of the sunlight that there is a large scar along Locrius's neck where he once may have been in a battle with another dragon, or maybe it was a human horde, but there's a large scar that has once now gone along his neck. I cannot risk dying, but there is only one of her, or it, or they, I do not know. How could one... And he sniffs the air, and Jake, can I tell, I'm just going to basically, can I tell one humanoid in the area? Just by sniffing in the air, can I kind of gather that it's just that single humanoid in the center of this?
You can smell only one, not just humanoid, but you don't smell any other life or like animal or creature life. Just this one form that smells faintly of sweat, hints of body odor, different types of body odor, but also smells of flowers, smells of brimstone, and that metallic taste that you get in your mouth if you bite your tongue.
I do not like this. What do I do? And he grips the side of this mountain as he's looking down at this horde, and I imagine he's going to wait. He is going to stalk around all of the cascades, everything that he can get to without actually going directly in. I'm going to try to look for every vantage point that I can from everything. But the biggest thing that I'm concerned about is that blue tower that I know for a fact is most likely crafted out of every grain of sapphire shards that used to be my hoard. You will get your comeuppance in time, creature. I will find a way into your sanctum, and I will tear you royally apart.
And it is at this moment that you hear the sound of heavy wings on the air as what sounds, it's a sound you know. You don't even need to question this. As the faint scent of evergreen and slightly decaying underbrush and a definite odor of dragon as Chlorfaxius, the tycoon, you also sweep across this landscape and you see this same sight before you. And because of the lack of any other movement, you can see the blue dragon that is already perched on the rim of this area, stalking around, hesitant to seemingly descend. But all of his pacings seem to bring him, in all of his pacings around the rim, he seems to always stop nearest to this blue tower, which happens to be directly next to the sapphire tower. What do you do, Chlorfaxius?
Taking note of the dragon, I will approach a bit by bit and say, it seems I'm not the only one. You lost your hoard too, my friend.
Chlorfaxius, it has been a long time since I have seen you. Tell me, how is the forest treating you these days? I imagine you lost your hoard too.
Yeah. My things are in order if I don't come back, but I want to. I assume you lost yours too. Did you talk to that human, maybe? Do you want to talk to it?
No, I do not wish to talk to it. I wish to bury it underneath my paws. But it's so easy. One of us could easily crush it. You could, I could, either one of us could arm that thing and destroy it limb from limb. But that's why it makes me so unnerved. It's one creature in the middle of this thing. It does not settle with my stomach well. Maybe that was my Horus.
I understand. In that case, let's race to find who talks to him first. And Chlorfaxius just drops and goes to by gliding towards the human. But the humanoid, yeah.
So you guys are racing down to try to. Well, Chlorfaxius takes off. Does Locrius race down there?
Logrius is going to take a moment, and he is not to be outdone. He clutches the edge of this mountain and he growls, no one shall beat me, and he bursts off of this edge of this cliff because he is so vain that even though his strategic mind tells him that this is wrong, this is not the way that things should be, that we should wait until things have been planned out further, he dives for it as well and continues to fly after him because he will be the first and he will be the best.
And as you two take off from the perch, you're racing toward this solitary human reclining on its chaise. Atarak arrives just in time to see a blue dragon and a green dragon tear off pieces of the mountain in their talons as they launch down into this ring of magnificent towers in this volcanic crater. How does Atarak approach the Mountain of Shadow?
Thoughts and ideas start to begin calculating in his mind. His tactics start to begin arraying in his mind of what he needs to do. He sees an individual on a chase lounge that looks to be a human, and humans he's sworn to protect until they've proven themselves to be not innocent. His dark gray eyes, he squints. You can see the spine, the frill begins to quiver as he knows something is awry. He bolts down into a dive and completely, as if he's skydiving directly, and then lands immediately in front of the two of them. It wings completely unfurled and does a wing attack directed at them. I would imagine they're probably far enough away that they don't hit it just yet, but he is unfurling. He is showing his colors. He is showing the silver, that the age, that basically the scales have grown into one because he is of his age. And as he leans forward, his mercury gray eyes, he leans forward on his paws and he just growls and he goes, "You don't have cause yet. Let us determine cause."
Awesome. And we're going to cut from that to Regenvost, who took a detour before heading to the Mountain of Shadow.
Now, back on northernly projection, he's flapping his wings almost each beat in irritation at having to exert this amount of effort to go after something that belongs to him, that some pathetic being decided that this was a good idea and now is causing him physical exertion to resolve. And as he does so, he notices there's something in one of his teeth, and he reaches in and pulls a splinter out from the base of his gums and looks at it and sees that there's still a rope and a bucket attached to it, and he flings it. And as he does so, he notices an itch behind the arm that he used, and he reaches up and brushes his scales, pulling them open, and a dagger falls out. And he continues to beat, and he just exhales, resigning himself to what lies ahead. And as I'm assuming he gets on the scene, if that's okay.
Yep. You arrive on scene just as Atarak has kind of raced ahead of and seems to have put himself between this humanoid figure and a blue and a green, and is kind of buffeting his wings at them to kind of hold them back.
When he sees this, an extra level of exasperation kind of enters his countenance. I was not expecting to have to deal with this today. And he makes certain, as he's on his approach, he's going to fly past and bank, turning the tops of his wings towards the inside of this circular area, and make sure to make 2 full circuits so that they can appreciate his size and the depth and glory of the deep blood red scales before he ever thinks about landing. And when he does so, he lands softly, almost like a cat jumping down from a height, and tucks his wings back into his body very quickly and kind of somewhat saunters up playfully beside Locrius. And at first doesn't say a word. He just kind of watches the exchange that's happening. And then he kind of turns out of the side of his mouth and says to Locrius, "Why is he not dead yet?"
On any given day, he would be. But consider the situation. I want to wring your neck, Adarak, but old. I'm almost out of commission. But I swear to you, no one will beat me and best me and Regenvost if you try to make yourself seem as though you are the better of the two. Will rip your head from your shoulders. Do you understand me?
I understand that you may try, but many before you have also, and he kind of raises his claws to the end of his snout, and kind of breathes a small amount of fire and then burnishes them with his thumb. They have obviously not been successful. So I say good luck to you, Locrius.
And Locrius will turn to Adarak. Listen here, you silver Slytherin tongued wizard. You impeding our military attack. Now, I understand you want us to hold off, but if that thing has my
cause. What is your cause?
Do you? And if
Locrius, the last time I saw you, you and 2 of your cousins were eating another metallic. If I'm not mistaken, that is where you received that slit across your neck. It seems as though you work in situations where it's not even odds. Is this how it will be today? Or shall we parley and be honest with one another? Cousin! And he says it like he's spitting. And he looks across the other 2 as he squints. And he kind of growls, and you see his lips just twitch over his fangs. I did not come here for a fight. But if it's a fight we're going to have, I am all for it.
No. He puts his hand out. Silvers taste terrible. There's no need for it to devolve into this as of yet. And he kind of looks and squints, the orbs of lava that are his eyes narrowing to little slivers of moltenness. If he wishes for this thing to speak, before we devour him for what he has done, Then so be it. I just ate, and I could use a small break before I eat again.
You dragons! You entertain me. The humanoid speaks for the first time since your impressive bulks have entered the arena. He is a wizened old man, long, white and gray, with streaks of almost yellow through his beard, long mustaches hanging down in braids, hair with a bald spot in the middle, lavishly sipping on a lemonade as he reclines, having not even so much as flinched in all of this exchange. And Adorak, you recognize this human form from descriptions only as a man known as Trayvont. And the only thing that you know about him is that though he appears to be human, he is much longer lived than any human. And it is rumored that the dragons themselves, the metallic dragons themselves, gave him extra life force as he served as an intermediary between the chromatic, or rather the metallic dragons and the humanoids of the realms. You, you dragon children, you're entertaining. You think you are the most magnificent bastards in all of the realms. Crawfaxius, the tycoon, blaring like a bird in the trees. Regenvost, the resentful. You resent that your treasure has been taken. Locrius, for one called the Voiceless, you talk an awful lot. I smell on your breath. Your own, on all of you, your peoples that you snack upon. Except for Adorak, the just. Perhaps just a little too forgiving of the humans, perhaps. But I see you have all received my summons, yes? Or you would not be here.
Largesse is one of my traits. I love the humanoids. Such as you, Trayvont.
Yes.
Cousins.
Trayvont.
Have you met Trayvont before?
Regenvost is busy making a hacking noise as these two are fawning over each other. And he spits out a cow carcass. It's mostly bone at this point. Oh, excuse me. Please continue.
You don't have any table manner. Anyway, the only thing I want to know before I am switching to Lotrius, who won the race?
I believe the silver impeded our predicament. Perhaps later, when we are riding home, I shall beat you again. Until now, I want to look into the eyes of this man. Trayvont, how do you know my name? Creature.
I know all of your names, as I have known all of your ancestors before you. Trayvont has walked this earth since Your ancestors were wormlings. I am surprised you have not heard of me. But maybe
I spend a lot of time in my desert. I do not have time for old and wrinkly wizards like yourself.
then perhaps you have time for dragons. As Trayvon, suddenly with a burst of energy that pushes you all backwards, sliding in the arena of surrounded by these, towering over each of you, you now surround a massive ancient copper dragon. Egregious, you will show respect to your elders.
And like that, he just sort of, you see this adult blue dragon who is just so vain and so pompous and so like, I am the man, shrink down to the size of a humiliated cat. He is just, what in the world is that thing? Where did you get one? And do I recognize this copper dragon by any means? I imagine that a copper and I, because blues and coppers spend a lot of time in the desert together, coppers and blues do not get along at all. And I imagine if it is something that I have seen, I would immediately recognize the visage of this copper dragon.
You have heard the rumors and the legends of Chrysinatrix the Copper, the last of the ancients, the last surviving ancient, and the very ancient who once occupied the Copper Tower on the Council of Ancients. You have never met Chrysinatrix, but his reputation precedes him as a trickster, even in his ancient life. A bit playful, perhaps too playful for some of the other dragons. But he has long since receded. Many have, including yourself, would have thought him long dead. It was once rumored that Chrysinatrix held the greatest hoard of all of dragonkind, second only to the queen of the dragons, to the chromatics, Tiamat herself. For it is rumored that Chrysinatrix, as each of the dragon ancients passed, he took their treasure hoards into his own hoard. This is what you know.
And with that, Atarak begins stepping aside as he sees Locrius' posture change. And again, Atarak actually brings his claws down to the ground, and then he stands up straight like he's at attention almost, and begins like, "Old one, it is a pleasure."
It is good to see that some of you know your place among the dragons, and that some semblance of decorum still remains in this world. Of course, I would expect nothing less from a silver. More refinements that I have known amongst the metallics. I expect these chromatics to do little more than hack amongst the floor and piss and shit where they feel they can. Is this not true?
Yes, yes, it is all true. And he sighs and like does a very elaborate bow almost. Says, we are all shaking and trembling in your shadow. You are truly a magnificent being to behold, blah, blah, blah. It's wonderful to meet you. Yes, what comes next?
Yeah, my apologies. I was crass and using bad humor before, but now I can say that I was in the wrong here, and I salute you, ancient dragon.
I will take your insincere platitudes if they are simply the semblance of decorum. But you must respect where you stand, the hallowed ground upon which your ancestors once counseled among all dragons. I would invite you to take a seat upon a throne where a red, a green, a blue, and a silver have not sat for more than 12,000 years. Locrius, I know you want to sit upon the blue-spired throne, but I assure you, not one stone, not one gem is from your own dragon's hoard. So please, don't pry anything off of the stonework.
And Jake, I imagine that as Regenvost and as Coraflax have been sort of half-heartedly giving these bows of respect and dignity, it is extremely hard for a blue dragon to give a copper dragon that same respect. They are somewhat bitter rivals. And he looks at Chrysinorax and a small, like, half-hearted curl of a smile, like, I can't believe you are making me do this. I cannot believe you are making me bow down to you. You are inferior to me in every possible manner, but But then he sees the throne in which Kristen, and then he looks at all of the possible beautiful sapphires, and his eyes become like them, big, beautiful, plate-like sapphires. His eyes just entranced by this beauty. I will not make any promises, but I will gladly take the throne upon which I feel I am destined to own. And he sort of like lays back in the chair like a rock star would in a large lounge chair with his feet up and his tail out on the side. I am ready to receive your words. Give them to me.
And will the rest of you take your seats upon the silver, the red, the sapphire, and the emerald towers?
Yes, Atarak, eyeing the other three dragons still, because trust is earned, not given. He watches them as he moves towards, and he's sort of scanning them as he's walking and swiveling his head, and he's got this low hum in his voice, in his throat, like a just letting him know it's prepared if needed.
Regenvost will stride over to the red throne and park himself in front of it for a moment, and then extrude fire and just kind of breathe it all over the throne, heating it to a much more suitable temperature before he lowers himself onto it with once more an exasperated sigh.
and Chlorfaxius will go to her tower, see herself in the reflection of the emeralds and other gems, and seeing herself does a little wink and go perch herself on the top of the tower.
And in one powerful Crescinatrix flares his wings out, pushes them down, and propels himself up and backwards to land like a feather upon the copper tower, which is seated immediately next to the silver tower. Ragenvost, there is a onyx tower that is on your flank, and Locrius, you sit between Ragenvost and Chlorfaxius, and there is a vacant white tower on your flank, Chlorfaxius. As Crescinatrix looks at you all and says, "You now sit upon the thrones where your ancestors once sat, where we counseled on the affairs of dragons throughout the realms. It is unheard of that such children as yourselves should occupy these thrones. But as there are very few powerful dragons left in the realms, such is the state we are in. I will assure you at this point, you will never see your treasure hoards again." And with that, we are going to take a quick break. Chad, could you do me a favor and take a moment and just talk about BrigadeCon and Child's Play? Just a real quick moment, and then pop off. Let's take a quick 5-minute break for whatever you need to do. And thank you in advance, Chad.
Yeah, man, no problem. Hi, guys. So if you're watching this and you are totally enjoying this, this is the Affairs of Dragons game being run by our wonderful friend Jake Norman, aka MTD, Mini Terrain Domain, and BrigadeCon 2016 is in full effect. For those of you who are not aware of what BrigadeCon is a charity event that we run almost every year that goes toward Child's Play charity. Child's Play charity is a charity that's very near and dear to my heart because it goes toward children's hospitals and other hospitals, towards getting kids video games and toys and all these sorts of really cool things to kind of give them a sense of hope and give them a sense of I don't know how to put it, but it gives them something to look forward to while they're still in the hospital. And I cannot enough that you go right now, while we're taking this break, right now, go to either brigadecon.org, click on the donate button, or if there's a donate button down here, I am not exactly sure, but if there's a donate button while you're watching the stream, go there and click that and donate, because this is hands down one of the coolest charities that you can give to, because it gives such wonderful things to these kids and gives them something to look forward to while they're in hospitals. I'm excited for the rest of this game. I will be back. Yeah, BrigadeCon 2016.
All right, big thanks to Chad for shouting out the BrigadeCon and Child's Play. Give a huge shout out to everybody that's been popping into the chat. I see Marquise is in there. Mapronomicon was in there. The Coffee Bean GM. What you looking at? Sabaliath. Sarbonian. Hope I'm not missing anybody. But we've had a lot of people in there. Chat's going pretty good. They're enjoying the game. I'm having a blast with these guys. Some fantastic players. And this is a unique twist, playing as dragons. Man, I think these guys are killing it. I think these guys are absolutely killing the characterizations of these dragons. Wait until they see what I got in store for them. I see, Marquise, I almost opened up the Tome of Beast options for dragons because there's so many more, probably at least twice as many options, or at least doubles the options that are in the 5e monster manual. But I wanted to keep this kind of on the 5e wavelength. And so I stayed within 5e for my choices, mostly for simplification, to be perfectly honest. I'm really excited to see if there's any new dragon forms in Volo's Guide to Monsters, since it's essentially functioning as a it's essentially functioning as a Monster Manual 2. Yeah. And I think there's supposed to be something like 90 new monsters in there, so it'd be cool if there was 5e monster options or dragon options.
Could be cool.
But like Marquis said, go ahead.
I saw some crazy artwork of giants, and I think they are going full swing with the Storm King's Thunder plot line, and I saw something like Fire Giant with 2 tower shield in metal, and it's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've pre-ordered and reserved a copy at a hobby shop of the limited edition cover.
Me too.
And I think what I'm going to do is a day 1 or day 2 review here on Mini Terrain Domain, where I just showcase the book. Obviously, I don't want to get a copyright flag for showing the pages of the book, so I'll stick to the artwork that they've already shared. But just to kind of talk about my first impressions of the book.
You could actually gray out the pages or put those word bubbles over the pages after you do it.
Yeah.
It might take a lot of work, but
I'll probably do it as a live show like this. That's why I'll stick away from that.
Okay.
But I think if I show 1 or 2 things here or there, it's within the realm of fair use. But the point is, I just want to give a quick first impressions and review of this new approach to a monster manual. Marquise commented in the that there are some fantastic options for dragons in the 5th edition monster manual. Basically, the 10 known chromatics and metallics, but you've also got Dracoliches, which you can flavor. You can skin based on whatever kind of dragon they were in life. And you've got shadow dragons. This is the thing that kind of sucks when you're using miniatures at the table is, and I don't have one that's readily that I can grab. I've got tons of, all of these cases up here are filled with miniatures of various kinds. But the dragon minis are barely twice the size of a regular mini. I think at one point, somebody, it was probably Pathfinder or something, but I think at one point they made this gargantuan. I mean, this thing stands so high on the table, but it probably costs like more than $100, I imagine, for something like that.
The last time I checked, it was $400.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all either. I would love to. It's one of my goals. Is I want to sculpt a dragon to scale with 28mm miniatures. but I'm not super great with sculpting. I do okay with it, but I've only really got one or two original sculptures that I've done. One of them being my completely scratch built mini that I did.
That's awesome.
But it's a far cry from this to a dragon. All right. Looks like we got everybody back. Are you guys ready?
Yes, sir.
As Chad's dislocating his jaw with a yawn. All right.
Hi, guys.
Chrysinatrix has just told you, as you've taken your seats upon the throne, that you will never see your hoards again.
Part of the throne breaks off under Reagan Vost's hand, kind of unintentionally, as he tightens his grip and just breaks off several rubies and stares at him as if he was speaking a different language and says, I'm sorry. Could you come again, please?
Your hoard does not belong to you anymore. Your hoard is now in the treasury of the only dragon that matters in this world or any world. Your hoard now resides in the treasury of the Dragon Queen as she prepares to take her place as the master and ruler of all of this world.
And this sits particularly, this cannot be sitting good with Atarak, that a copper dragon is speaking with such adoration of the Queen of Dragons.
Can I get an insight check?
Go for it.
That's a total of a 19.
What are you trying to determine?
I'm trying to determine if he's really being honest. I mean, it because I am kind of amazed and just dumbfounded that he's speaking this way of Tiamat.
What you sense is when he speaks of the Queen of Dragons, you sense a reverence that is very much in line with the reverence he was demanding of all of you earlier, in respect to the seat of the Council of Ancients. But you sense something else beyond that, that you only thing you can pinpoint is there may be some ulterior motive there.
Atarak takes a deep breath and kind of his posture straightens and he just kind of cracks his neck and he says, he's actually visibly upset, but not looking upset like the other three. Atarak considered the individuals that were tied to each one of those possessions. Every memory that was tied to them. And if you can only imagine the loss of a loved one in your life, this is now happening 10,000-fold to Atarak. He is losing the last vestiges of the people that he loved throughout his life. These were the monuments to himself, and yeah, there's a little selfishness in that he says, I'm keeping this for my memory, but he sees it as a monument to the person that once it was tied to. And he kind of narrows his eyes and looks at the ancient copper and gives him a skeptical eye. but he is still holding his tongue, for he is unsure, as he's looking through misty eyes. And his lip is kind of trembling, not because he's weak, but he's got the weight of thousands of lives being ripped from his heart once again. And as he grips the throne and looks across at this ancient copper, this better be worth it, Ancient One. And he doesn't say it disrespectfully, but he also is, the tone is not the same that it was when he referred to him earlier as Old One. He's not being disrespectful, not trying to slight him, but it slipped a little bit that he's not happy with the direction this is going. He sits back and sort of broods like someone who's experiencing loss. And he doesn't make eye contact with the other two, though.
Excuse me. And Chrysinatrix eyes Adarek up and down.
I can respect. I can respect these filthy colored dragons, these chromatics, because they at least have a passion to recover their hoards. I have no respect for a dragon, a metallic dragon, that weeps for humanity and human emotions and loss. That is why the dragons have been dying off, because you all lack the true passion. But the Queen of Dragons, who has made me her personal consort.
And maybe that is the issue, Ancient One. Clouded mind, clouded thoughts. And he just kind of like...
My mind is not clouded. I see more clearly than I've ever seen before. And I will watch in admiration and awe as my queen tears you all limb from limb.
And at this, the ground begins to rumble, as if the mountain that was once an ancient volcano, as if it's going to erupt. And the ground in the center begins to crack, and the earth begins to tumble into this crevice, absorbing quickly the chaise lounge that still sat there. And this crack and crevice begins to widen even more. And you see first one, and then another massive claws. And then you see a burst of flame, as if an eruption. And a massive red head of a dragon emerges. Wrapping around it, twining and untwining itself, is a green dragon's head. And then a blue dragon's head emerges. And then a white and a black, all ending in a singular, muscular, gargantuan body, as Tiamat herself rises up in her full form occupying as much of the center space of this arena as she can. And I would like you all to roll for initiative. I see Chad, I see Chad just say, God, shaking his head no.
Nope, not today.
Who here has ever fought Tiamat?
Never, and I have a perfect 0-0 record. I do not want to lose that.
I think your record may change today, my friend. Oops.
Did I say that I was sitting in the throne? I meant behind the throne.
Did I say I left my lair? I meant that I never even left my lair.
Exactly. I'm fine with the 1 copper. That's cool.
My throne that once was covered in sapphires is now just, I am now the brown dragon. It is covered in, I've just completely soiled my throne.
All right. What are we looking at for initiatives? Looks like 18 for Corphaxius. And no lies, guys. I rolled a nat 20 on Tiamat's initiative. Could be the shortest encounter ever.
You son of a bitch! I hate you. I rolled in that 20 as well.
What's your initiative modifier? What'd you end up with for your full initiative?
Where is that for?
It would be whatever your dex modifier is.
What the dex modifier is? Okay, let me take a look. Yeah, that would be 0. Okay, cool. So I'm all strength and no dex. Woo!
All right, believe it or not, then we're gonna roll off for initiative because I also have a 0 dex.
Okay,
so
cool.
let's do a quick roll off,
Yep.
and we're gonna see who's actually gonna go first. You beat Tiamat by 1 in that roll off. So Locrius, you are actually going to go first, followed by Tiamat, followed by Corphaxius. Oh wait, hold on. Hold on a second. I missed Jeremy in here. Oh no, yeah. Followed by Regenvost and Adarak bringing up the rear. So Locrius, what is your first action as Tiamat rises explosively with no intent other than your destruction visible in her many sets of eyes?
Well, my first reaction would be to curl up into a ball and turn into a tiny little nothing. But no, Locrius is not the type to back away from a fight. In fact, if he is threatened in any way or shape or form, or his valor is threatened in any way, shape, or form, he becomes a completely new creature, and he surveys the area. This giant dragon coming out from the ground. And Jake, what would he see in terms of any sort of advantage that he might be able to get battlefield-wise? Because he is a man of the desert, and obviously we are no longer in that desert. So he would like to find some sort of advantage point. So if I could take a moment to look around the battlefield for maybe a vantage point as this thing is rising up out of it, I want to take a moment to do that and then attack.
So yeah, the vast majority, the first combat advantage you have from your purchases upon these thrones, you are approximately 50 feet over and above Tiamat in the central arena. Additionally, though comprised primarily of black sands that appear to be the pulverized remains of the mountain and volcanic stone and ash, the floor of this whole arena is essentially like sand for the most part.
If you invite a man to his home, he is going to get comfortable. So he cracks his he hops off of his sapphire throne, cracks pretty much every vertebrae in his body, and you see him slither forth off of this perch. And as the whole width of Tiamat's body is coming out of this hole, he is going to burrow into the ground itself and sort of slink around unknowingly underneath the ground. And I'm going to try to burrow 30 feet down and kind of get closer to her. And then, once I've made that movement action, I would like then to take my attack and use... let's see, what am I going to use here? Yeah, so I'm going to try and use my lightning breath in just a 90-foot line in underneath the ground as it just sort of scorches underneath. That's what I'm going to attempt to do. I want to just burrow underneath, aim this thing, and then just shoot a laser cannon of hot molten lightning flame at this thing's face.
All right. And is that, I don't have all the dragons before me. Is that a dexterity saving throw?
So the lightning breath is you have to make a DC 19 dexterity saving throw or take 66 lightning damage on a failed save, or 12 D10. So I guess we'll just say 66 because there's no way I've got 12 D10 worth of rolls.
You said it was a DC?
It's a D19 saving throw.
And she saves with a 20.
Oh, are you kidding?
And she barely, just as the lightning arcs through the ground and starts reaching up toward her, her head's just kind of split away, avoiding this now.
Oh, but if
is there a half?
Yeah, if it fails, you take half. So you still get 33 points of damage. So I imagine that this is what it looks like. It's like a cyclone rips through the opening of the hole of this, like just a hole, like a geyser. It explodes from the top, and as it rips through the center of these heads, the heads move out just enough, but they are slightly scorched by the burning sensation of the lightning just going through the center of their heads.
Awesome. All right, next up in the initiative order is Tiamat. However, Regenvost, I believe, is going to do something, utilizing a legendary action.
Yes. He is going to spin atop his perch, and tell me if this is all right or not. He's going to attempt to use a tail swipe to actually just knock a chunk of rubies off of this throne and throw those as a projectile at Tiamat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Roll it as the tail attack, and
okay.
we'll just flavor it.
Cool. The tail attack, I went ahead and rolled it up ahead of time. Was 22 to hit.
So yeah, so these you cause this rain of rubies and other red gemstones and colored bits of stonework and metal to just hurl like a shotgun, like a massive shotgun blast at Tiamat. and you can hear the metallic ringing sound of these projectiles bouncing harmlessly off of Tiamat's scales. And it is now Tiamat's turn. And with a, where'd it go? With a roar of all 5 heads at once, I need every dragon here to make a wisdom saving throw.
I'm gonna burn inspiration on that.
Go for it. If you got, everybody has 1 inspiration right now, so you're free to use it if you need to.
Took a 10.
Yeah, and I want to point out, just as a reminder, because we're dealing with a lot of aspects on these monsters, you guys also have legendary resistance that you can use up to 3 per day. If you fail a saving throw, you can succeed instead.
Yeah, I'd like to think that Atarak shakes off the coil of probably fear that's coming over him because of the years of facing terrors and threats that he may have not necessarily thought that he could face, but the courage always fought him forward and brought him through. So for a minute, he thinks and he looks to the side, but he looks over at the treacherous fool of the copper, and he turns back intent on Tiamat once again.
So did you, just to be clear, did you legendary resist that? Okay. Chad, you're the only one that didn't clarify that. Did you go with your roll, or are you going to legendary resist? I can tell you right now, nobody succeeded with the dice rolls. Unless you rolled higher than a 26. One of the highest DCs I've ever employed. Were you legendary resisting that, Chad? Can you hear me, Chad? Okay.
Yeah, I'm
so-
I'm just gonna use
okay.
that right now.
So not only did you all resist the fear of Tiamat, you guys are now immune to her fearful presence. But you may not be immune to her attacks, her physical attacks that are coming forth as she lunges first towards Locrius with a massive claw. And that is a 29 to hit as this claw comes streaming through. And I'm going to be using a dice roller because as much as I would love to roll fistful of dice, I don't want our entire game session to be me adding dice together. So that, I'm assuming that 29 hit you.
Yeah, no, it royally did. I only have like a DC 19, so that 29, like it's like getting punched in the face.
Yeah, you're taking 21 points of slashing damage as this claw connects with you. And she reels around, swiping with her other claw, just hulking her bulk forward, not even having to move, as she swipes at Regenvost, who shotgun blasted her. And that is going to be a 21 to hit. Does that hit? And that is going to be 24 points of slashing damage as these claws rake across your scales. Her tail comes swinging around and swipe at Atarak for a 35 to hit, doing 4d8 plus 10, doing 22 points of piercing damage as spikes and claws find purchase between your scales. And it is now Orphaxius's turn.
And what does Chrysinitrix do right now?
Chrysinitrix is nowhere to be found.
Crap. Okay. In that case, Chlorfaxius will dive down and try to hit Tiamat with her bite and 2 claws. So we'll dive down, and while she's attacking the other dragon, she will try to swipe on the neck of the same type of head that she has, green and blue, and bite the white one. And yeah, that's what I do. So bite, fumble, well, forget that, 2 claws. I have a 20, 28, and a 25.
Both of those hit.
Okay. 10 slashing and 9 slashing. No, 11. You will not take our hoards,
And
my queen.
in response to that attack, and perhaps as a bit of an insult, the green head bites at you, Chlorfaxius. For a 27 to hit. And that is going to do 40 points of piercing damage as the green dragon's head bites into your body. And remind me, as a green, are you immune or resistant to poison?
Immune.
Okay, that's what I thought. So you are not going to receive any poisonous effects from a green dragon biting you. And it is now Regenvost's turn.
Okay, so after having been hit with her tail, I believe it was. Maybe.
You got claw. You got claw struck.
Okay, so yeah, he's taken a pretty nasty scrape on his forearm, and he turns and further scales up this this tower till he's at the top, and then he's going to take flight. And after he puts a little bit of distance between himself and Tiamat, as he's kind of buffering backwards, he will then go ahead and open up with his own breath weapon. The DC is a dexterity saving throw at 21.
27.
Okay. And do you want me to go ahead and roll it or just take the average?
Your choice.
Oh, I'm going to roll it then. Ooh, that's true. Okay. All right, so
This is what happened when Lloyd ran his Jotun game last year, with the giants dealing hundreds of points of damage per round.
so full is 67 points of fire damage.
So 3. Okay. And as your fire comes raining down in answer, Tiamat's white head breathes cold breath up at you. And you need to make a dexterity saving throw. Trying to beat a 27.
I got an 18 total.
So you are going to take 84 points of cold damage. As ice just, as your flame just kind of spreads around her and singes her a bit, splitting your flame and pushing it away, this cold ice just blasts you full in the chest. All right, and that takes us to Adarak, the Just.
Okay, so Adarak snaps his head over and looks back at the copper and he says, "Treacherous old fool!" And then he looks over at the and starts with a wing attack, which was a reaction. So DC 21 Dex saving throw from Tiamat.
DC what?
21.
That is a 15, so she fails.
Okay, so 2d6.
Oh,
plus 8.
she doesn't.
Oh,
She decides she's going to.
okay.
She decides she's not going to fail that. She literally is like, "Oh, I'm going to take the psych," and dodges out of the way.
Well played, Tiamat. Well played. And at this point, he's still up in the air, so he kind of jukes over to the right, and then as he's going, he blows some paralyzing breath onto what's the far right head?
The far right head. The white.
Okay. That's a DC 20 Constitution.
Constitution.
Actually, it's a 60-foot cone, so it would be blowing across several heads.
Yeah, they're all going to target her anyway, and that is. I'm sorry. What was the DC on that?
20 Constitution.
23. So is there a half damage
Okay.
on that?
There isn't damage, it's just a paralyzing for a minute. So,
Oh, okay. So there's on a save, it's a save.
correct.
All right. Metallics in your dual breaths.
It depends on what I've eaten, really. That's what it boils down to.
All right. Locrius.
Well, now this dragon queen has thoroughly irritated my iridescent scales, and I am about to lose my ever-loving mind. I burrow out from the hole, and I am going to try and bite this. I don't even know a appropriate way to tell her that she is a dragon bitch, but that is pretty much exactly what I have to say. This behemoth dragon bitch is about to get her face ripped off by my claws and my teeth. I am going to do a multi-attack. I'm going to take my multi-attack, and I am going to try and burrow out like almost like an angry badger, and burrow out with like multiple claws and then a bite mark as I burrow from this hole and just try to rip her a new one. So I guess I use my frightful presence, right? So it says on multi-attack I can use my frightful presence. It then makes 3 attacks, 1 with its bite and 2 with its claws. Okay.
Yep.
So
you can attempt to scare Tiamat.
So I am going to attempt to scare her the best I can. Surprise attack! Ba-bam! Just so I assume that Locrius sort of slithers in his way through this ground, and then from behind, bam! He pops up and tries to give her a frightful presence. And I got a. What do I need to roll for this, though? Oh, you need to roll a DC. You need to roll a DC 17 Wisdom saving throw, or it becomes frightened for a minute.
A DC. I'm sorry.
DC 17.
That's the Wisdom modifier for Tiamat. So coupled with my nat 20, that's a 37.
Okay. So
she knew you were coming.
So hey, I'll back off. No, I'm gonna go ahead and try to attack this creature. Crazy woman. That the first attack is gonna be with one of my claws, and that's going to be a 26. What? So do I add the attack modifier and the strength modifier to the roll?
The attack modifier incorporates your strength modifier.
Oh, okay, cool. So that would be a 26 to hit.
And that
for
is
the first claw. Okay. So that is going to be a. Now I can either roll for 2d10 plus 7 or just go with the standard 18 plus 5 lightning damage. So 18. 20. So yeah, 23 lightning damage on the first attack. And I imagine that you just see his mouth open up. And he grabs onto one of the shoulder blades of Tiamat, and it's just like a spark show comes out of his mouth. And one of the claws comes around to one of the necks and tries to swipe at one of the necks. I'm hoping. That's going to be a 22 for one of the claws.
There's a ring as your claws rake across her scales, not finding purchase.
Dang. Okay. Last one. And that is a 12, which makes that 24 to hit that next one.
One of your talons catches under her scale for a moment and then flies loose. A single scale of Tiamat flying across the ground, the size of a tower shield to a humanoid. But that is the most damage you do to her.
Dang. Okay. So I think I got a little bit, but not enough. I'm frustrated, but I'm hanging on there, just like wrenching at her shoulder.
And if you can imagine, 5 dragon heads laughing at you in derision as she rears up onto her hind legs and brings 2 massive claws at you. Well, she brings 1 massive claw at you first. Oh, I'm thinking you don't want Tiamat to crit.
Am I dead yet?
But
is Locrius dead? Do I need to give a eulogy? Because I will give a eulogy right now for my dragon. He will die
let's see what happens.
In vain. Oh my God.
Just turned into 8d6.
How many, let's see, how many did I end up getting hit for last time? I think it was only like 24 or something.
Yeah, you're going to take, the crit deals 39 points of slashing damage to you.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
From the first claw.
Oh, God. Okay. Well.
The second claw is a 29 to hit.
Yep, that's going to hit.
And that is for 29 points of slashing damage. Her tail reels around at Chlorfaxius. And that is another crit. This die is unfun. This is the die that was giving me 1s last night. You guys are lucky to experience the change in fate. As 8d8 plus 10 equals 53 points of piercing damage. Chlorfaxius, as Tiamat bashes you and punctures you with her tail.
So let's add this up, man. How much damage? There was 2 attacks on me. That was
29 and 39.
and
So
30.
29 and 39. So yeah, basically 58 points of damage to you.
And I got it by 53. Was it over for a turn? I would like to try a legendary action.
Yeah, her turn is done. And it's actually your turn. So
I can do that just before my turn?
yeah, you can. I mean, it's a reaction. So you can do a legendary action. And then you can do your regular turn.
Okay, so being bitten by the dragon or the claw, in fact, I'm Chlorfaxius with swiper tail and attack Tiamat. Tail attack will miss with 18, and she will go up a bit and go straight to the face of the blue dragon and says to him, "You got a big nose. Take a deep breath." And she will use her poison breath on that head. So it would be DC 18 Constitution saving throw, and if she probably succeeds, it will take half damage. I will.
Which head were you attacking?
The blue one with the poison breath.
And the blue head looked like it, in reaction to what you said, and as you exhale this poison breath, the blue head looked like it may have been preparing for a strike. It was drawing back and drawing breath in, and it fully inhales the full force of your poison breath attack. So what's the damage? I mean, it's taking the damage from that. So go ahead and roll the damage up on that poisonous breath. And I would like all of you to roll perception checks.
Yeah. 32 damage, and if she succeeds, I think, with half of that, the poison. And I will do my perception check.
Jeez. Regenvust is the most perceptive of all. Atarak, how did you fare on that perception check?
15.
Oh, there it is. I see it. I see it. So you missed this. You're caught up in the treachery of Chrysinatrix. But the rest of you, something's not, particularly as you've all assaulted Tiamat with your breath weapons to varying degrees of success. But you've all seen scales electrify. You have seen the poisonous breath by sucked in by the blue head, and you've seen and Atarak, you do, as this realization is dawning on them, and you corrected your perception there, you do notice something's not jiving. The legends tell you that Tiamat, dragons, and the queen of being comprised of all 5 chromatic dragons, she should be immune to the effects, the elemental effects of draconic breath. But she's not. And it's going to be Regenvost's turn, but first, the red dragon head in reaction to the blue sucking down the poison, it's going to unleash fiery breath upon Chlorfaxius. And I need you to make a DC 27 dexterity saving throw.
I got 25 with a 19, so I'm gonna use another legendary resistance to dodge that. I will try to dodge of the way by how can I say? Yeah.
You will take, as you call upon your dragonly wiles, you will take only half of the 94 points of fire damage. So you will take 47 points of fire damage as this breath rains down around you.
Ouch.
And it is now Regenvoss, I can't. He wanted to call you the red. I'm just going to call you Regenvoss. Go.
All right. So, let's see here. So the white head that just breathed at me, he's going to kind of narrow in on it, almost like he's looking through a tunnel. And he's going to tuck his wings and dive towards it, kind of colliding with it, and is going to attempt to wrap both claws around just the neck of the white head. Actually, no, he's going to attempt to grab a hold of the top and the bottom part of its jaw, one with each claw. Using Frightful Presence first while I'm taking my dive, if I may. I know it's asinine, but going ahead and doing it anyway, since it's basically free.
Sure, sounds good.
So he's roaring, as he's diving, lands and attempts to put his claw one on each side of this thing's jaw, and then is going to attempt to bite at the neck while he's doing that. So
the Frightful Presence is, remind me again, it's a wisdom save?
It is, yes, correct. A wisdom save. Mine is a DC of 19.
30.
Yeah, okay.
So she's not afraid. She's not afraid. But so now you're attempting to grab the jaws.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Making my claw attacks, but do what?
Okay, so you're reflavoring your claw attacks. And
yeah.
Essentially,
I'm not looking for any kind of benefit from it at all. Just.
Well, are you essentially trying to grapple it or just damage it?
Just damage.
Okay. Roll it up.
Okay. The first claw was a 17 total, so I doubt that works.
That claw is knocked away as the head rises to meet your attack.
The second one is only a 21.
Which the head, as it knocked your other hand out of the way, completely avoided that second swipe.
And then a 23 with the bite.
Also a miss.
Yeah, striking.
But let's see if in its reaction, the white head succeeds in biting you. Let's see, 31 to hit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
And that's going to be 4d10. So you're going to take 31 slashing damage from these teeth as they rake across you. And then you're going to take an additional 15 points of cold damage as these fangs, like ice daggers, rip into you.
Come now, you are not playing fairly.
And it is Adarak's turn.
Okay, so Adarak does a wing attack where he buffets again, so it's a DC 21. Check to see if I get my breath weapon back. Do not get my breath weapon back.
That's a 25 against the... That was a dexterity save, right?
Yeah, 21. So that's fails.
Oh, wait. No, sorry. That's a 15.
Okay, so a 21, I
that's a fail.
succeed then. So
Yep.
wing attack, 2d6 plus 8. 13 points of damage, but it's something. And as I cause the head that's next to me, to the two heads that are next to me that are kind of worming around like worms, as they are, they kind of get pushed down. And as he flips away, he does a tail attack, kind of flicking it. So he's using his third legendary action to flick one of them in the head. So that's a plus 13 to hit. I critted it.
Nice.
So, let's see. How do you run crits? Just roll it all out, or
roll your damage dice twice, and then add your modifiers.
okay. 25 points. As the tail just rakes over the head below it, and you see the neck just sort of fold in half as it you see the mouth as the spittle just flying out of it. And Ataract actually kind of, as he's buffeting in a swift movement, he jerks to the right and looks over at Locrius. And he's vicious at the moment because he's growling, he's snarling, he's got like ice around his fangs and stuff, and he's looking at him and he lunges forward and he puts his claws on you and casts heal.
Oh. Twist.
And so heal, you get 70 points of damage back to you. So heals 70 hit points, and it ends effects if you're deaf or dumb at this moment. Well, you might be dumb. Just kidding. I'm playing.
There's only so much you can heal.
Right. So yeah, he heals him, and then he kind of like growls out. He's like, "We're still not friends."
I would expect nothing less of you, Atarak. And then he realizes that this is a very, like, he bows his head, like kind of nods his head to the situation, and then he realizes this is not the opportune situation for them to be in. The closer he is to these mouths, the closer that he is to this creature, the worse for where he is. He is better from attacking from afar. So he is going, like, if we can kind of just transition, if it is my turn, I want to make sure before I take.
It is.
Okay, cool. So he looks to Atarak and nods, and then he takes off. I'm gonna fly. I'm gonna release myself. Yep.
What I was thinking is that I feel your movement because I was going to push off, but I feel you starting to eject yourself. So my claws just sort of grab you like underneath your pit, so to speak, and give you extra momentum and just sort of fling you up to give you. And as I come up and I do a whirl and then come back down for my next attack.
That's awesome. Okay, so if my normal flight movement, then Jake, and if this is allowed, then my normal flight movement would be
well, here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do. Because of that freaking awesome assist, you bypass the attack of opportunity.
Yeah.
And you can fly at double your speed.
Okay, so I am launched into the air, and I'm assuming what I'm going to do is I'm going to careen around, right? I'm up in the air. I'm going to careen around, and then I'm going to take a. Let me see. Now, do I have to roll a d6 to get my lightning breath back?
Correct.
I've never been. Okay.
Yeah.
So I roll a d6.
Before you can use your breath weapons again, you have to roll a d6, and I think all of you recharge on a 5 or 6.
Yes, 6. Money. Okay, so as I turn around, you can see this ball of lightning just begin to form inside the maw, and at full 160 foot speed, like going 160 miles an hour, just I will destroy you today, you disgusting, vile imagery of Tiamat. You are not what you say you are. And a wave of electric clouds and smoke just begins to billow all around the front of the chest.
What's the DC on that again?
The DC on that one, if it hits, which I hope it does, because otherwise I'd describe that horribly. It's a DC 19 dexterity save.
And it's a fail.
Oh, yes! Okay, so yeah, just the big ball just sort of lunges out from the mouth as he's going at this top speed. Bah! And just nails the creature right in the chest. Tiamat is going to take a total of... Where are you? A total of 66 damage, lightning damage, just into the chest.
Yeah, and you see more scales flaking away, arcing with electricity, and as they hit the ground, instantly turning the black sand into an opaque glass. And it is Tiamat's turn.
Oh, if at all possible, I would like.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Regonovost would like to get a legendary in there.
Excellent. Okay. I'm going to use it to do a tail attack to the base of the white neck that I'm kind of tangoing with.
Excellent.
I rolled a 1. Never mind. Moving right along.
Yeah, there's an actual whistling sound, almost a screaming sound, as Regonvost's tail rends through the air with such tremendous force, with the biggest dragon whiff you've heard. And Tiamat is going to, with her white head, attempt to bite Regonvost again. I thought that was a crit. That is not a crit. That is a 10 plus. That's 29 to hit.
Yes, that does hit.
And you are. I need my phone closed. So that is going to be 4d10 plus 10. So you're going to take 32 points of slashing damage, and you are going to take 16 points of cold damage as this head bites into you. The tail swings around and upward toward Edorak. How far away? You took up into the air, didn't you, Edorak?
Yes, I did. So,
that's
would
actually
be an
just going to be
opportunity attack if you wanted to. Unless you were saying, were you waiving the opportunity attack on both of us because of the maneuver?
Both waived opportunity attack because of your spinning awesomeness.
Okay.
No, she's because you're in the air. As you rise up, the tail whiffs past. It's just an automatic miss. But her other claw is going to streak at the only other nearby target, which is Porphaxius, for a 35 to hit. And that's going to be 21 points of slashing damage for Porphaxius. And it is now Porphaxius' turn. I love saying all your dragon names.
Yeah. From what I will try to do is Porphaxius seeing her death maybe coming to her, and the two dragons retreating. She will try something learned from the drills, of our forest. She will try to use Mass Cure Wounds on on her and her allies. It projects 30 feet radius sphere, and I choose who gets healed. Can I heal everyone?
Yes, that's awesome.
Thanks. I will just
Druid
describe
dragon,
after.
I love it.
But not Tiamat.
Yeah, not Tiamat. No. I choose who gets healed. Okay. So it may not be that awesome, but 17 to everyone. So it's not that much, but I guess you can use it. So what I would describe is she does her spell and speaking in Druidic, I will say, yeah, and she sends a small swarm of insect that will go stitches your scales and your skin, and it will only take a few seconds, and you will have momentarily being healed.
Awesome.
And that will be my turn.
To Regenvost.
Okay. This time, I think he is going to attempt a grapple roll. And this is kind of the way I want to flavor it. He's going to continue scrapping with this white head, and whatever color is beside it, he wants to try to put himself between the two, gripping the other head near its base with his back legs, and then with his forelimbs, he's going to wrap them around the white head in attempts to just push the two apart with all of his might.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a strength roll.
Oh. It's a 20 total. I'm going to use inspiration, if I can.
No, you don't need to. You don't need to, because I rolled a 13.
Well, fantastic. Thank you for letting me know that.
And so you're grasping at the one of the other heads that you can't even really see, just whatever the next head is, as your back claws rake against the scales and don't quite, just for a moment, you find purchase enough to leverage as pushing apart on this white head. And you hear this tremendous rending of flesh and scale as you rip the white head from Tiamat's body. And you lose your purchase on the other head that was behind you. And you are now aloft, holding the severed and bleeding white head. And I'm just going to call that an even 100 points of damage to Tiamat.
You hear Atarak in the air above call out with a hurrah, something like that, to like commend Regenvost on his maneuver.
Regenvost is kind of falling towards the ground and looks down at the neck kind of still in his claws and kind of looks surprised, as if, oh, that actually worked, and then slams into the ground and sends sand flying up everywhere. And he'll use half of his movement to get back to his feet.
Excellent. Atarak.
Okay, so Atarak is as he's descending, similarly to the way Locrius was, but much more cooler because he's silver. He's coming down and he brings his claws forward and he says, "This is not what it appears to be." And he pushes forth the magic to dispel whatever is on this creature before him at a spell of 5th level. So equals 10 plus the spell's level. So 15 plus my spell modifier.
Yep. What level spell is it?
Casting it at 5th level.
Okay.
So that's The 15 plus dispel magic would probably be based on intelligence, so 18.
The effect, you see it almost like a magical wash just cascade across the entirety of Tiamat's body, and it just, the spell just reflects off of the dragon as if it were as harmless as water.
Okay. And in the process, I'm going to come in for my wing attack, which is a DC 21 dexterity save.
That is a fail by 1.
So that is, well, 12 points of damage. It's still hit. And then a tail attack where I'm going to smack it again with a tail attack. So 16 with the tail rake. So the tail just swishes around again and tries to go for one of the heads and just whiffs above it as he kind of growls and swirls and just sort of continues to buffet the air above this behemoth. And
All right, we are back to Locrius, the voiceless.
Okay, so as I have come down from my perch and started to descend in a very visceral lightning bolt, as it were, I imagine that he sort of does this barrel roll maneuver as he's spiraling toward it, and then he flashes his wings out and will flap them forward, and I'm going to do a legendary attack of my wing attack as I sort of want to try to buffer every ounce of me toward knocking this dragon, this multitude of dragons prone, so we can finish the job.
All
right, so that is going to require me. Each creature within 10 feet of the dragon must succeed a DC 20 saving throw or take 14 bludgeoning damage and get knocked prone.
Is that a dex?
It's a dex
Right.
save, yeah. It's a DC 20 dex save.
Your buffet energy succeeds only in pushing Tiamat back about 10 feet as her claws rake, digging massive furrows in the black sand and spraying blood from the severed head where the white head once was. But other than that, she does not fall.
She does not fall. So she take any damage from it, or just move?
No,
she just move back.
She saved that, so I don't know if there's half damage on that.
Oh, okay. No, it says then I can then fly up at half my fly. The dragon can then fly up to half its flying speed. So I guess that means if I knock this other dragon, that I can move at half my flying speed afterwards. So I imagine I just buff it and then spin out and move again to circle the arena and wait for a better attack. You know.
All right. Which puts you out of Tiamat's range. And Tiamat is going to... So you rose to your feet, regular bus, correct? After you dropped to the ground.
Yes, I did.
So you can go ahead and make a strength contest to avoid the grapple that's coming from Tiamat. As you feel Tiamat's claws, her back claws, as her wings for the first time flap and her feet rise from the ground, she grabs you with her rear claws and begins flying high into the sky and begins pummeling you with her foreclaws as she's going to make 2 claw attacks on you. And the first one is going to be a 36 to hit. And the second one is going to be a 35 to hit.
Yes, easily.
So you are going to end up taking a grand total of 8d6 plus 20. You take 49 points of slashing damage as she just bam, bam. And then when you are 120 feet in the air, she releases you and swings her tail at you to try to swat you back towards the ground. And that is going to be a 24. Does that hit you?
Yes, it does, unfortunately.
So you're going to take 31 more points of piercing damage as you're just slammed. And you are 120 feet in the air. You're a dragon, you have wings, so you don't have to do any special saves or anything like that. And that's going to take us to Orphaxius.
After seeing that, she will take she will go straight up and try to launch her dragon breath to Tiamat. Let's see if the effects can be if she can do some effect on the Dragon Queen. So I will just go to the edge of my Dragon's Breath range, and I will dive down after that. So like before, DC 18 Constitution saving throw.
Oh, geez. Well, I'm out of my rolling tray. DC what?
18 Constitution.
Well, con save. DC 18. That is a fail.
Okay. Just one moment. Oh, way better than the last time. 36. Take that.
All right. Yeah,
Finishing my turn now.
Yeah, she just takes that full brunt of that attack. And as you are knocked away, Regenvost, you're the only one in immediate range as the black dragon head rears downward from Tiamat's body to hurl a line of acid. And actually, being, you know what, because that's a 120-foot range, she's going to angle that towards Chlorfaxius as well, who came up into the air and just breathed poison at her. So I need both of you to make dexterity saving throws of DC 27.
I'm going to use one of my resistances. This will be my second.
Okay. So that's 70 points of acid damage, or 35 if you resisted. And that was a legendary action. Okay, I'm losing track. I think we're on Regenvost. Chlorfaxius just went. So yeah, Regenvost, the red. Regenvost, the Jeremy, you're up.
Fair enough. Okay, so he is hurting bad. He saw a bit of healing happen before by Adarak, and he's going to kind of continue to fall and then kind of just take control of his descent with his wings a little bit, but head straight towards Adarak. And then he's going to land beside him and probably not in the most curt way he could, or the most polite. He's going to say, "Heal me, and do it quickly, please. I must get back into the skies and finish this."
Adarak looks over at him and with a puzzled expression. But he did say please. And at that point, you see this white, silvery light emit from the claws as he reaches over and casts heal on his would-be comrade. And so you regain 70 hit points. And is that my turn then? Move into my action?
I'm going to allow that. Yeah, go ahead and take an action now. I'm not going to count that as your turn because that's some pretty cool. You guys are dragons.
Okay. And I look at him and I say that similarly. I say, I still do not trust you. Understood?
All right, are you going to take an attack action? Because I'm not counting that heal as your action.
Oh, nice. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to roll into my legendary, which I'm going to use the wing attack. And first, let me check to see if my breath weapon recoups. I got a 6, so it does. So first, I'm starting with the wing attack. Oh, that's not a roll. That's a DC 21 Dex, please.
A 12 fails.
Okay, so it's 2d6. Oh, boy. 12 points of damage, and rolling into the tail attack. For a total of 19, so... and this time I'm going to unleash a cone of cold, 60-foot cone, and as it erupts forward, you just see like flecks of snow just erupting forward and shards of ice just flowing outward and just showering in the direction toward this would-be Tiamat. And the DC on that is Constitution of 20, please.
Good Lord. Oh, that is a 19. That's a fail.
Very cool. Very cool. I'll take it. 6, 13, 14. And one more. 56 cold damage.
Ooh.
As this showers over the would-be Tiamat. And yeah, that's my action. I don't think I can continue with a bite or a claw, right?
No, that is your action. And it is going to be back to Locrius.
Okay, so I have taken flight again, and I have prepared myself for this moment. I am going to blast off one of these heads. One of them will be mine. I want a trophy just like my red brethren. Regenvost will not beat me. I will be an owner of my own Tiamat dragon head. And I am going to... Which ones are left, Jake? Which ones are left? I know that the 4 of them are left, but which ones are left?
The white is the only one that's gone.
White one's the only one that's gone. And I've got black, green, red, and blue.
And blue.
And blue left. I think I'm going to shoot for the green. I'm going to aim for the green as much as it kind of hurts me to aim for a fellow chromatic brethren. I can't look at this thing and think it's real anymore. So I'm going to rear back, flying at a sort of angle, and I am going to recharge my. I'm gonna hopefully recharge my batteries and try to shoot another breath weapon at its faces. And nope. So it doesn't recharge. So I realize I don't have the girth inside my voice, and I just dart into. I just dart into this thing at full force, and I'm going to take a multi-attack, just like a cat pouncing on someone, just and trying to rip and claw at the face as much as I can.
All right.
Alrighty. So let's take a look. Oh, I don't need that. I don't need any of this. No. Other thing. There you go. Okay. So another multi-attack. I'm going to use Frightful Presence, though, so as I come down, if you could please give me a DC Wisdom saving throw.
That is a critical fail.
What? I heard critical something, and
Tiamat
I heard
critically,
critical something, and then it cut out.
Tiamat critically failed that save.
Yes! Okay, cool. So, okay, so with the, I don't even know, do they give reasons for crit fails on the Frightful Presence? I don't even know what that means.
Failed it, and
If a creature
by
saving
that
throw.
logic,
Oh, okay. If the creature, if a creature saving throw is successful, or the effects end for it, the creature is immune to, okay, so if it fails, it's frightened for a minute. And I'm going to then keep doing this attack here. So 15.
So here's what happens, just because it has a mechanical effect.
Yeah, 27.
The dragon,
27 for the,
Tiamat does not appear to exhibit any signs of fear on you, or rather from you, but instead its reactions become kind of herky-jerky in response to your fearful presence, and you are going to gain advantage on these attacks. For the next minute, everybody has advantage against Tiamat.
so that would be a 27 for the first roll.
Okay, that's it.
Keep it on the table. Let me see here. Yeah, that's going to be a hit for the second one because I rolled a 19 on that one. Plus my modifiers, which is plus 12, so that's going to be a almost it. And then a 14 plus 12 would be 26.
All hits.
Okay, so basically you just see a flurry of blue blasts and like a lightning bite which just goes around the neck of this green. He tries to rip and tear the neck clean off as much as he can, just ripping and clawing like a lumberjack, just ripping at this throat. And then that will be each one gets, the bite attack gets 18 and the claws get 14 each. So let's see here.
28 plus 18 is 30, 46 points.
46 points of damage.
Yeah, and you can see that there are, as you're attacking just viciously at this green head, green scales are flying everywhere. And with the last vicious claw, you have opened up enough scales that your claws just rend through this flesh and tear it like moldy sailcloth as the green head separates from the body.
Yes. So I imagine I like rip it off and I'm like holding it in my hands and I just sort of lunge over it like doing a barrel roll forward, somersault roll, like ha ha.
Beat that!
and I look directly at Atarak because he is the only. So far, he and Corflaxis have not gotten ahead, and both me and my red brethren have. Wink.
In reaction to this, as first before Tiamat fully attacks, as a legendary action, the red head unleashes the fires of its internal combustion at Locrius. I need you to make a DC 27 dexterity saving throw. What'd you get? You're muted, Chad.
Okay, so I got a 7. I got a 7.
Oh.
I rolled a 2, and I get a +5 to my deck saves. So yeah, I'm gonna have to use one of my legendary resistances then, because I've got 3 in the tank.
So you will take half of the 90 points of fire damage that washes over you.
Okay.
So 45 points of damage
Oh my god.
from the fire, and that's just from its breath attack.
Oh my god. Okay.
As she lunges at you with a claw for the 26.
26, I believe, does hit because I only get a 19 armor class. So yeah.
And a 31 is also going to hit.
Yep.
Followed by the tail.
Oh, good lord! I'm getting.
Oh, you just ripped your head off.
Getting wrecked.
That's Regenvost. What happened when he ripped the head off? 37 on the tail hit.
Okay.
So that's going to be 8d6 plus 20. So you're taking 47 points of slashing damage from these claws. And then the tail rips at you for 27 points of piercing damage. So it's like 74 points of total damage that just pummels into you.
Okay. Locrius is feeling quite worse for wear as you see him sort of do this somersault, and he's all elated, but then he is just gassed, and he sort of slams himself with holding this head in his hands into the black sand, and his head just sort of gets covered up, and the only thing you can see is that like almost goldish horn against blue scaled skin, just breathing heavily and exhausted.
Corfaxius.
And she's preparing to charge Tiamat, or fake Tiamat, and she say something very loud for Locrius to hear, and saying, don't get ahead of yourself, Locrius. And she dives toward Tiamat, and will use bite and claw attacks on Tiamat. So I have advantage because Tiamat is frightened, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. 25 is a hit, right?
It is.
Okay. 18. 24 piercing damage and 5 poison damage. And I will roll the claws. 26, so it's definitely a hit. 11 damage for the first, and the second one 26 again, so 11 damage again.
The form of Tiamat, with 2 heads gone, 3 heads remaining, is still acting herky-jerky, and its movements seem to be coming with more and more difficulty. Regenvost, it's your turn.
Okay. Having just been healed by Atarak, and then Atarak immediately following, releasing a stream of cold breath close to his vicinity, which he's already had enough of this day from the white. He kind of leans away, buffets his wings a few times just to kind of put some distance between himself and the metallic, and then begins flying upwards towards this Tia Knot. And as soon as he closes with her, he will once again try for his multi-attack, bite and 2 claws.
With advantage.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So the bite is a 25.
That's a hit.
Excellent. Okay. Oh, that's terrible damage. All right, let's see. $18 total.
All right.
Unless it's got any kind of immunity to fire or what have you, resistance or whatnot.
Nope.
And the second, the claw is a 29.
That's a hit.
And another 29.
Hit.
All right. So
The hits keep coming.
13 points of slashing damage from the first and 17 from the second.
Atarak, you are up. Tiamat is staggering to and fro.
Atarak looks down on his cousin. He doesn't spit when he says it this time. Says it in his mind this time, at least. Spent blue that's got his head buried in the sand at the moment. He thinks of a certain bird that does that too, but thinks Blue might be a little smarter now that he knows him a little better. And he turns back to this would-be Tiamat and then squints his eyes. Does not get a breath attack, but he comes in for a wing attack for DC 21 on Dex.
And that's a fail at 18.
Okay, so 14 points of damage with that. And he is going to come in with a bite. And just for flavor, he is like coating it with ice as he starts to bite into it. Rolling at advantage for a total of 32 to hit.
Yeah, that's a hit.
Just a little bit. Let's see, 12. 20 points on the bite. And then he is going to do a claw. For a total of 31 to hit.
That is a hit.
15 points of damage with that. And he is going to finish it up with a tail, just because it's like swishing, kind of like a cat, but not really. And $26.
That's 26. A hit.
Nice. 11 damage.
And as your tail goes flashing through, as you're just basically, this thing's staggering on the ropes, and you come in, buffet it with your wings. Slam, slam. And then your tail swings as you spin your body around. And the tail severs through the black head, the blue head, and the red head. All 3 heads severing completely through, completely separating them from the body. The body, devoid of its heads, staggers, takes a step forward, and then you see where the heads have all been separated, the body begins to collapse in on itself. And you hear this almost like a sucking sound but it's not sucking air, it's sucking noise as it goes. Instant of dead silence. And I need everybody to make a dexterity saving throw as the form of the would-be Tiamat explodes in a fiery ball of flame.
I'm going to use a second legendary saving throw at this point. And in the process, I was actually looking over at the blue and sort of reveling in my moment, if you will, of just taking 3 heads off. And then as I look back and I realize what's actually happening, the horrific, and I start to then take the moment to just recover and prepare for what's coming.
The DC is 25. Everybody had legendary resistance, so you're only going to take 40 of the 81 fire damage from this fire blast, and you're going to take 18 bludgeoning, which is half of the 36 bludgeoning, from the concussive blast of this explosion as scales begin rending the air, bits and pieces of bone and flesh as this would-be Tiamat explodes. How fares these 4 dragons after this explosion? Is anybody knocked unconscious?
I'm really close. I'm at 28. If I hadn't gotten that heal from Atarak, I would have been in the dirt.
In the wake of the explosion of this form, you hear so close, coming from the area of the copper tower, where you see anybody that would look over there would see the form of Chrysinitrix, the copper dragon, materializing from invisibility and staggering. And he collapses over the edge of the tower and begins tumbling. And it's his human form of Trayvant, the old man, that lands with the full weight of the dragon, but in human form. Black dust. As he just lays there, staring up at the sky. It was almost all mine. But, and he lifts his head, and a gnarled hand points at you, and he kind of sweeps his hand across at all of you. I fooled you, didn't I?
Regenvos limps over to where he's lying on the ground, and as he's kind of doing so, he's turned his bleeding head towards Atarak, and he kind of inclines it to the side, and he says, May I please finish him now?
Atarak looks over at Regenvost and he's considering the thoughts in the moment. He nods his head in assent, just a slight nod, and he turns his back on the copper and begins walking away over to Locrius to check on him, kind of leaving him to what's going to happen.
And Regenvost will continue over until he is kind of towering over this humanoid form. And he's going to lean very close and say, you know, I'm going to enjoy this very, very much. And then he's going to continue. He's going to start eating him. Yeah.
And as you bite into him, he just, one hand actually touches down on your snout before you devour it. And the last words that you hear from Trayvon, who would be Chrysinatrix, would be some sort of Tiamat construct, is the future is yours. And as you devour his life force, as his flesh is rent and his bones crunched and his blood drank, first the copper tower, and then the remainder of the towers of this once great seat of the Council of Ancients, the towers begin to collapse. And as they collapse, you realize as the walls collapse, not only is the debris that is raining down the vast treasures of these tower constructs, but you realize that each one of these towers was apparently some sort of a silo containing the accumulated hoards of every dragon that ever went before you. And as they collapse down, the ground where Tiamat construct rose up begins to cave in, and it runs into this hole in the ground. And you see that it's not disappearing, but it's joining with an amount of treasure, tenfold, 20-fold, 100, 1,000-fold what spilled out of these towers, as quite literally the wealth of every dragon that has existed in the world before you now lies before the feet of you four dragons. And as the camera begins to pan away and dissolve, it shifts suddenly down to a view just looking up at four dragons staring into this immense treasure hoard. As a few coins begin to shift and a single clawed hand emerges. And that's where we're going to end. Woo! Wow.
Well done, Jake. That was fantastic, man.
What I intended to be, I thought this was only going to go a short little bit, but you guys this went awesome. I'm going to tell you what was originally going to happen since I didn't get to do this. Obviously, it wasn't really Tiamat. It was Chrysinatrix, the copper, playing a trick that over the eons, he had amassed all of his magic and energies into creating this Tiamat construct to basically swindle you all out of your treasure. But the other page that I had open over here was that he was going to emerge.
It's Rask.
Into one last baddie. But even I can't even imagine a band of human fighters or humanoid fighters facing off against Tiamat, because
Oh no.
I actually nerfed Tiamat a little bit. I minimized her legendary resistances and took away her healing and some other things because it wasn't really Tiamat. And I gave her average hit points. And based on this here, I don't even know how many rounds we went, but oh man, that was so much fun, you guys. You guys, I want to give a huge credit to all of you. The characterizations and the way you played these. Every one of you brought something unique to these. Dave, I've never played with you before, so this was a wonderful first time playing with you. And I absolutely loved your unique spin on your dragons, your silver dragons connection to his treasure. That they were keepsakes, every one of them. I absolutely love that.
Here, here.
But yeah, I loved all of your characterizations. If I could give you inspiration to use in your life, I would give it to you now. So in the next game you play in, just tell them that Jake gave you inspiration and you have it. So I'm going to give you guys each a moment to kind of sign off and promote what you want. But I do want to say a huge thank you not only to you guys, but to the many people that have been coming and going in the chat. We've had quite a few people stop by. And this is all part of BrigadeCon 2016. Head over to brigadecon.org. We are heading into the final stretch of this 24-hour con, where I'm about to jump into another game as a player. 4 hours, 3.5 hours of playing with dragons to now step into the world of Dragon Grin for 4 hours. But this whole thing is all about Child's Play and childsplaycharity.org. If you go down into the description of this video or head over to brigadecon.org/donate, you will find that there is a widget that will allow you to donate directly to the Child's Play charity, which is a tremendous organization that provides games and toys to children in hospitals and recovery centers around the world. I highly encourage you to do this. Just give $1, $2, $10. Give 10% of your Dragon Hoard, because it is such a worthwhile cause, and you won't regret it. So with that, I would like to give each of these tremendous players a huge round of applause and give you each an opportunity to plug whatever you want to plug. And let's start with Chad.
Guys, it has been an absolute blast to play with you guys. For those of you who are not in the community and do not know where the inspiration for my voice for Locrius the Blue came from, Locrius, I know you're out there. I know you're probably watching this, and if you are, awesome. If you're not, I'm going to send you the link in a private message and have you watch this so you can see how much I thoroughly endorse you and probably humiliate myself in terms of doing your graciousness. He is the coolest person. If you haven't looked him up, he is Locrius Planetoid. I believe you can find him on YouTube at that, and they do some wonderful music. Planetoid is the band. He's awesome. But for me, my name is Chad Nick, and you can find me at Chad Nick, K-N-I-C-K, on YouTube. I go by GastroGamer. And then you can also find me at gastrogamer.org. I do video game reviews, tabletop reviews for kids with disabilities. And we talk about not only tabletop information, but we talk about video game information, upcoming technology, all this cool stuff that's going to be happening. So keep a lookout for that. I've got other stuff in the pipe on my YouTube channel. So that's it for me. BrigadeCon. I can't say enough about BrigadeCon. Child's Play, do it big.
Dave.
What an awesome opportunity. these four gentlemen, and I wanted to play with Josh too, but I didn't even know who I was getting in the game with. This is my first BrigadeCon, and I am just so happy that I got into this game with you guys. I mean, I've watched you in games. I've enjoyed the play, so I'm a fan, and so I wanted to play with all you guys. So I have to admit it was a blast. I've never played a dragon before, so definitely a unique experience. What more can be said about Child's Play charity? But we can always say more because the kids need it. So again, just to reinforce what's already been said, even after BrigadeCon and you're watching this and checking it out, just take a minute, go to their website and donate. So beyond that, I've got a small channel that I do some home gaming on, and my version of advice. I'm new at DMing, but I share my experiences and such at Mornblade Gaming. But definitely check out Chad Nick. Definitely check out Jeremy Lilly's channel, Mini Terrain Domain, and I think Marpaz, you have a channel, right?
Not yet. Maybe one day.
Okay. Okay. So definitely check these guys out. But I can't tell you how satisfied I am with this game, and great pacing, great overall. So we're going to meet next week, right? This time to finish it out.
I think we should make this a campaign. We should just do campaign of dragons and see how long we survive.
Heck yeah. Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Jeremy.
All right. Yeah, I can't do much beyond echo just what's already been said. I don't really have much to promote. I do have a YouTube channel, but there's not a whole lot there. It's just one game that I've been running since last BrigadeCon. This is the second year for me, and if it keeps going at this pace, then I don't know that I'm going to be able to stand it in the next couple of years here, because this has been fantastic. Likewise, I've never had the chance to play a dragon, and a lot of times, sadly, in the games that I run, I don't even get the chance to play the villain for longer than a fight or two. So this was awesome to be able to get into the headspace of a creature like this, and you guys have just outdid yourselves, and it was awesome trying to keep up with you. Jake, it's the second game of yours that I've played in. It was phenomenal, and I hope it's not the last one. And yeah, BrigadeCon, this is an amazing experience, and the fact that we're getting to do it for a charity only makes it better. So if you can, donate, because it's truly is a worthy cause. And thank you guys very, very much for this experience. It was a treasure for me. Absolutely.
And Marpaz.
Like Jeremy said, all has been said or so donate to BrigadeCon. It's a very nice thing to help children like that. And never played a dragon meet either, so I was very psyched to play my green dragon. Everyone did a very great job. I don't have any channel, like I said. I have a YouTube account like many others, but I don't have anything yet, so I will try to keep it short. So thank you. It was a fantastic game, Jake, and wish to play more in the future.
Well, it has truly been an absolute pleasure to play with each and every one of you. Dave, this was the first time. I hope it won't be the last time, and I hope that for all of you. You all bring something amazing to this hobby, and I love playing with you guys. I love having you guys in my games. So whether as a player or as your dungeon master, I will be honored to have you be a part of a game or to play in a game with you. Head on over at around 8 o'clock, about 15 minutes. or if you're watching this recorded, just head on over to the Tabletop Terrors YouTube page and check out the Copper Jackals Into the Bleak game that me and some other Copper Jackals are about to tear some stuff up or get torn up. So maybe it'll be a retribution for what I did to you guys in this game. We'll see if my 14th level monk Copper Jackal can survive what Tim Carney of Tabletop Terrors and Absolute Tabletop is going to throw at us. Head over to BrigadeCon, check it out. Sign up next year, be a part of it, join in the fun, donate to Child's Play, and just keep having fun with games. Enjoy this hobby. We are the Brigade, and this is Mitted.